Well, the short answer is no. And after 40 days, I think I would know everything and all the intricacies. No, I'm just joking. As someone who's been playing console my whole life and who still recommends getting consoles and getting all that stuff, honestly, I don't think that PC is objectively better than gaming on a console. And the answer is going to be obviously similar to what you would expect, which is, the best thing for you isn't PC or console, it's what you're going to play on. But I don't really think that is nuanced enough. I don't think that is fleshed out enough, and I'll get to that briefly in just a second. So this is great. This is super great. This is the Kalita Wave. It's been a while since I've been able to do a Kalita Wave because I didn't have filters for it. Beautiful flat bottom. Really great. Love it. One of the few times you'll say flat bottom is beautiful. And so this thing itself is one of my favorite ways to brew coffee because it actually is very forgiving. And for people new to coffee, I would highly recommend getting something like a Kalita Wave over a V60, not because the V60 is bad, but because the V60 has a higher risk for bad coffee. I mean, it's easier to mess up a V60 recipe. Just whatever you do, don't buy a Chemex. Chemex is something you look at, it's not something you use. Shots fired. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand while I brew this delicious, yummy cup of Ethiopian coffee, which I'm actually starting to get a little bit tired of. I just don't like Ethiopian coffees. They're just kind of, for the most part, boring. They're blueberry, strawberry bombs, and they all taste very similar. So just be the first to admit that I don't love Ethiopian coffees, but it's what I have, and I don't want to be wasteful. All right. One of the things about consoles that I have learned since switching to PC, and someone asked me this over on stream, and I do stream mostly during the mornings, is that consoles themselves, they say, what do you miss? What do you miss the most about gaming a console? And I'll be honest, I couldn't figure out what to miss. And some would say, well, then PC is better. I say, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm finding PC to be an experience that I am enjoying more than I expected. But if I'm being honest with you, the only thing about PC gaming that I find to be particularly exciting is the symbiotic relationship between my Steam Deck and my gaming PC. The Steam Deck hasn't increased in its capabilities since I got my gaming PC. While I can technically stream games off my PC using PC or Steam Link or something, I think that's what it's called, I'm not looking at my Steam Deck and going like, oh my gosh, it is so much faster. Like, nothing has changed about that device. The biggest thing that I am experiencing using that device is kind of more peace of mind. When I want to get a game, I get it on Steam, and then boom, I'm able to play it. If it's not too demanding, I'm able to play it on the Steam Deck, or, you fill in the blank there, whether it's Lenovo's offering or Asus's offering, you're able to do it. And so that's something that I find to be very, very compelling about the whole PC thing, that I do enjoy over console. But that doesn't make the PC just this, oh my gosh, why are people still using console? Something that I really am starting to appreciate, especially with the introductions of hardware like the PlayStation 5 Pro. And eventually whatever Xbox is going to do, although Xbox is making it abundantly clear, which is a wild thing to me, but whatever. Hey, you know what? I smelled this from the beginning, and it's the reason why I kind of bailed on Xbox as a platform. Xbox doesn't care what they find their games on. It's clear. I mean, Indiana Jones is going to be coming to the PlayStation 5. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And their titles are coming over to PlayStation because they don't care where the games are. They want the games to be purchased and played. And the enticing, element of this, someone was like, why would you buy an Xbox? Well, because you have Game Pass on it. And so Game Pass as a service allows you to play these games without purchasing them. You can play them for, I guess $21 a month, which is pretty pricey, I think. It used to be $15. Adding $6 is what, like 37%? I don't know if that's an exact figure. I just kind of pulled that one out. I know it's less than 40%, but not by a bunch. So it's like a 130% increase. Or a 37% increase. Well, you multiply it by 137%. What's 15 times 130? I don't have my phone on me. At any rate, like that, we're not talking about Game Pass. Although I will say this. I have to eat my words a little bit, which I do here. I am fasting in the morning, so eating my words is the only food I get sometimes. But when it comes to Game Pass, PC Game Pass, I'm going to say it. we're going amber. PC Game Pass is actually worth it. There, I said it. I enjoy the fact that I'm able to play some of these titles that I otherwise wouldn't purchase because, and this is more shots fired than anything else. I don't think that Microsoft, Xbox, or their studios are releasing anything particularly compelling. And so if I want to try something new, and there's an asterisk there, if I want to try something new, then I don't want to have to invest in a bad decision because it seems like a lot of games are turning into bad decisions. Anyway, shout out to Sven and his speech. Indiana Jones is a released game that I very much so enjoy, but this is like one in a long shot. I haven't experienced something like that. I can't even tell you from anyone, right? With the exception of the Final Fantasy games, we need to get back to the original conversation, which was the console PC thing. And I know I'm bobbing and weaving everywhere, but hey, that's what we do here. We have fun with it, right? If we're not having fun with it, what are we doing, right? So with the thing that I have been most impressed with isn't necessarily the fact that the PC performance is out of this world, which it is. It's the fact that the console gaming performance is actually not bad. This is something that was blowing my mind. And that is why I bring up something like the PlayStation 5 Pro, which for some they think it's a waste of money, and for me, I don't need one, right? Because all of the games that I want to play on any platform, with the exception of Nintendo, but Nintendo will always be omitted because I don't see Nintendo as a device that is purchased as for someone who is a hobbyist like myself playing video games, and this is a hobby of mine. I don't see the Nintendo device being the standalone product for someone like myself, right? I think Nintendo is an included product, a supplementary product, because it is one that you use to access games that you can't find anywhere else. Xbox is releasing games everywhere. PlayStation is obviously releasing games everywhere. These places are releasing games everywhere. So you don't have to worry so much about not having access to these titles. But when it comes to playing games on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series S, right? The number one device that impresses me the most isn't the PC, which is $2,000. I got $200 off. They dropped the price for a sale, and I was able to price match. Shout out to Costco, by the way. I was outside of their price matching days, right? It's 30 days. Ooh. Hold your horses. Well then, I see you, Ethiopia. That actually tastes way better than it. Hold on. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. That's way better than I was anticipating. Shout out to the Kalita. Okay, back to my Costco shout out. Got interrupted. Happens. Shout out to Costco. I was outside of the price match days, 30 days, but I was within the return policy, and they're just like, yeah, we'll do it. So I was able to get $200 off, which is awesome. The machine is still $2,000, so I would expect there to be substantial change to my performance experience. I would, right? $2,000 for goodness sakes. It needs to be able to perform. But the thing that is crazy is not that the Series S gets close, because it doesn't get close. It certainly doesn't get close. But that the Series S is as stable as it is. This is something that I find to be absurdly impressive. Like, the Series S is, I still will say it. The Series S is one of the best consoles I've ever seen in my life. Like, hands down. And this is coming from someone who has an overbuilt PC. That's not overbuilt, actually, if you're playing games like Black Myth Wukong or Indiana Jones. They still can't fully hit top end. I can't full out just push the ray tracing on my machine. And with Black Myth Wukong, I can't play it natively. So they're not even, this thing isn't overbuilt. But I will say that, like, the Series S, holy smokes, the fact that it's able to perform the way it does in the form factor that it has at the price point that it is, like, this is the reason why console is, I think, more compelling now than it ever has been before. I don't miss the console experience because the console experience for me has been a PC experience for a lot longer than I think I let on. So I've been playing PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck on a TV in my office for the past, since I moved here, so 2 years. And before that, did I have the TV as my main monitor? I think I did. I was at home I'm at home now, but at my old place, which I was doing the same thing. I haven't been playing on a big TV for a very long time. I guess it would be since 2021 when we all got locked up and my wife was at home still. And so since she was working at home, I wasn't going to hog the TV from her. So she, had to watch me play whatever I was playing. She got to watch her shows. I got to play my games. Everything was good. And so that was, this switch I made. And so I've been playing this desk gaming for the past since 2021, and we're going into 2025. I've been effectively playing the way that people who play on PC play, but using a console instead of a gaming PC. And so for me, the transition actually wasn't this like environmental shift that some people feel. They feel this location of going from a living room, an open big room with people in it, to a office. It's a little more secluded, tiny, whatever it may be. Some people prefer it because they have this little space for themselves. And me, myself, I do at times enjoy the fact that I can shut a door, have my own private time. It's mine. I can kind of relax, decompress from the craziness that is being a father 24 hours and 7 days a week. This kind of thing is just, it's nice. It's a little retreat for me. But I will say that the Steam Deck allows me to also spend time in the same location as my kids and my wife. They're doing fun stuff, and I'm just sitting there on the couch just playing my games. And so that flexibility is nice. But I'll say that my location alone, I've been playing the way that historically PC players have been playing, except I've just been using console. So the switch from that wasn't astronomical. In fact, the switch only was UI. Selecting how to play a game. Although Steam really makes it simple. I think Steam is probably the greatest, the biggest proponent to this. Honestly, they really are. And again, Steam doesn't do anything other than manage the games. That's a big reason why I switched. Well, also for content. And I saw, hey, you know what? Maybe switching over to PC would create good content. So that is part of it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say oh yeah, this is 100%. No, dude, I'm not going to spend, I wasn't going to go out and spend $2,000. No, just a person randomly being hey, let's just go drop $2,000 on something. Nah, that's highly irresponsible, I believe. And so I know it's an unrealistic thing to be yeah, just go drop $2,000 on a machine. Let's go for it. Nah, I'm self-aware here. This is super duper unique in its own right, having all of these consoles and then just going out and getting a PC, right? But for some people who are thinking is now the time to switch to PC? While I do believe that the gap between console gaming and PC gaming is smaller than it has ever been, that now that angle, that looking at that is from both ends. And so people who switch from PC to console because they want more of an easy way to play, they're finding themselves going you know what, it's not that big of a difference as far as my experience is concerned, especially if you're playing on a machine that's a few years old. You're playing on, hardware that, graphics cards and processors that were a few years old. You're going on a PlayStation 5 or even a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox. At this point, I'm just going to say it. Why would you buy an Xbox if it's all being released anywhere? Right. If you want it, if we're going from numbers alone, right? Numbers of games available to you, then it would make more sense to get a PlayStation because there are more games available to you because Xbox is releasing their titles over there. Now, if you're going from a financial perspective, then Xbox makes more sense, I think, because Xbox costs less. The top end Xbox does cost less than the top end PlayStation 5, which is a Pro. And Game Pass is a service that allows you to play more games while spending less money. So, like, I think that maybe Xbox might be a more financially... I mean, I don't think... I don't think you should choose one over the other based on that. I don't think you should choose PlayStation or Xbox based on which one is cheaper, because at the end of the day, it's really the games you want to play. And so, like, where are the games you want to play? Is it God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn? Is it that, right? Is it Ratchet and Clank? Because those games aren't coming over to Xbox. They're on PC, which is weird. I don't understand, like, why it stops at PC. It doesn't go down to... I don't know, dude. There's a reason why I sit here, drink coffee, and talk about video games. I don't make big decisions about video games. But the difference between the platform, PC platform versus the console platform, is smaller and smaller. Performance-wise, it's not, but it's just access, stability. I mean, I've been told many a time that consoles have a more stable experience. Okay, that may be true. I haven't experienced issues with the gaming that I have played, like the stability, right? Now, it may just be the games I play. Now, I know that PC has access to more titles, right, that you wouldn't be able to play on console. But if someone's coming from the console space and they want to switch to PC because they're titles that they haven't been able to play, they've already made their decision. It's just playing games on this machine has been phenomenal. The biggest thing that I have realized is that the difference between the games on PC versus on console is not as big as I anticipated. It really isn't. And that is the craziest thing. Sitting here and, like, the advantages of the PC gaming that I see almost have nothing to do with performance. In a lot of ways, the console gaming experience that I've had for the past 30 years has been a far more favorable experience based on just stability alone. I know that the game that I'm going to play on my PlayStation, on my Xbox, when I had one, or on my Nintendo Switch, I'm going to omit that because that's never going to really be a part of it. But on my PlayStation or Xbox, I know that the games I'm going to play, that the offerings they have for me are the best versions of that game that I'm going to be able to play on that system. And so I'm not really going to have to think about it. I'm just going to have to turn it on. I guess I choose one mode. I mean, now there's all these different modes, so I guess that's not even relevant anymore. But, like, I'm just going to choose the performance mode. Honestly, that's what I would choose anyway, and just kind of run with it. And that's the way it's going to be. And the game itself has been taken care of to a certain extent. At least that's the expectation. It has been taken care of to a degree that allows me to just play the game. And on PC, I have a device that allows me to just play a game. It maxes out everything, and I'm good to go. But that may not be everybody's experience. They might have to get in there and do a couple things here and there. And so the nuances I would suggest between the two, there are some, but man, especially with crossplay, cross saves, all of these things, really what dictates the experience isn't as much the platform itself, rather how the games are organized, which is crazy to me. It's crazy that, like, my suggestion of people potentially, like, considering this transition, because I would say I do suggest investigating whether or not switching over to PC is a possibility for yourself. I do suggest at least looking into it, because the one thing I would say is really nice is that Steam library. It's incredible. It really is. I like the knowledge that I'll give you an example rather than just tell you. So let's say you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it, but my budget is small. And so I'm just going to spend, I'm going to get everything, and I'm going to spend as close to, let's just say I'm going to spend on used parts, this, that, and the other. I'm going to build, so I'm going to get something that's around the same price as, or a few $100 over the current gen console, right? And you get something that is, can either match or what I've been told will outperform a current gen console. And you start building out your Steam library. And then one day your boss comes to you and gives you a bonus, right? And it's like, hey, here's, however much, whatever. not going to throw numbers out there because everyone's different. And that bonus is able to cover some, expenses you have and some bills that you have, some debt you may have, because let's be honest, we all have debt. But you have a little extra spending money, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do the responsible thing, and I'm gonna put this in spaces. But I have an extra, few $100 here. I'm gonna upgrade something on my machine. And you upgrade something on your machine. Or let's say the bonus was extraordinary and you're like, I'm able to purchase a very, very big rig, and the thing I had before I can replace by something and just exponentially better, and you're able to do that. You don't have to pay for any upgrades for your games. You don't have to pay for any additional versions of your games. You don't have to pay for a PlayStation 5 version of your PlayStation 4 game. You just get to play it. And guess what? Whether you do that 30 days, 90 days, a year, or 3 years down the line, the game itself will receive every upgrade available to it, as long as it's not a remastered title, which I'd love to see that happen. It'll receive every upgrade available whenever. You buy a low-end PC for a few $100 from a store, and then, you come into a little bit of financial gain, and you're like, all right, let's make it a high-end PC. The games purchased will always be there. That's a really comforting thing for myself as a father and a husband who is trying to maintain a hobby that is that like goes through time. This hobby isn't one that stays stationary. It's not like riding, which I used to do. It's not like riding fixed gear. Oh, I'm just gonna buy a different cog. I'm gonna put a different chain link on here or crank set. It's not that. It's not like, oh, now I have this frame. They've completely changed the geometry of bicycles, and I have to now upgrade, right? That's the PC. That's the console experience. No, it's just like, all right, I'm going to ride this thing. It's probably going to gain some value as time goes on. Nothing's going to change. No, gaming changes. This hobby is one of them that, unfortunately, as time goes on, with the exception of retro, there is an element of upgrades that needs to take place, right? This isn't like cooking as a hobby, where sure, you'll upgrade your knives, but you can get by. Cooking is a skill-based hobby, just getting better at cooking. This is unfortunately a collection-based hobby. You collect stuff and get more. And if I was to want to play, Jedi Survivor on hardware that was 10 years old, did Jedi Survivor release on PlayStation 4? I don't remember. That'd be so silly if it did. It may have. Look at what we're doing, dude. We're releasing titles old, but Elden Ring did release on PlayStation 4 actually. But I think you understand the point I'm trying to get at, which is, as this hobby progresses down the line of time, upgrades are needed. Stuff is needed. And so I want to be purchasing titles and building out this library on devices that allow it to be maintained. Look, when I switched from console to PC, from PlayStation, my primary next gen or current gen or whatever you want to call it, experience, to PC, I lost access, technically, to my Final Fantasy 16 game and my Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth game. And any other game that is there, Ratchet & Clank, Ghost of Tsushima, all of those. I now have access to them on Steam, but I would have to repurchase them. They don't just transfer over. That's a bummer, right? I wanted a better gaming experience. Let's say I wanted to play at a better gaming experience. I wanted to have a much higher resolution, so I wanted to go PC. Well, I lose that. If I would have started on a PC that was about the spec of a PlayStation 5 and go, I want to have that crazy next-gen experience. I've been saving up for the past year, been putting money aside, been working extra shifts. I'm going to upgrade my PC. I won't be penalized for making a better machine. In fact, I'll be rewarded. And that, for me, is the value that comes with PC gaming. And that's why I would suggest maybe looking into it, because PC used to have have walls up in both directions. There were games that you could only play on PC, and there were games that you could only play on console. The lines of only now come down to PC, and I would argue that the games you can only play on PC, that people are like, well, now look at all the games you can play on PC. Let's be honest, dude. Someone who's playing on console isn't really like, oh man, I can't play, Red Alert. Now I'm aging myself. Yeah, I think we'll be. Oh, League of Legends. Come on, we have self-respect. No, it's not that. I think really what it comes down to is it's an intimidating transition, and I would agree it is. I have done it, and I can tell you, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still intimidating. Going from Apple products and console gaming only. That's my only experience with computers and gaming to full-fledged PC gaming has been quite a transition. But, I mean, I guess in 2024 or 2025, if you're watching this, it's really not as bad as I anticipated. The biggest thing that I've learned from playing games on PC is, holy hell, the console gaming experience is good. And my love for the Series S has increased because of how impressive that little machine is. That thing is a titan. And if someone's like, I want to get into casual gaming, I would always suggest Steam Deck. What a great device. But if you're like, I only got a couple $100, yo, my love for that Xbox Series S is on high. Knowing what it's able to push out and what it's able to do for the price point. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, I guess you could say that PC gaming, I'm not going to objectively be like, it is the better version of gaming. It isn't. It's different. It certainly has its advantages. But I guess what PC gaming has taught me in all this, to go back to my roots, the Xbox Series S is an incredible device. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But hey, these are just ramblings of a dad early in the morning. I was going to stream today, but unfortunately I can't stream because got to take care of business. So I just don't have my morning. So instead I'll make a cup, talk to you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'm going to be doing some multi-streaming, so you guys actually will be able to see the streams, enjoy them. If you don't like Twitch, you'll be able to enjoy them right here. I'm doing my best to try to make that thing happen. I just don't know how that's all going to pan out because I've never done it before. I hope the tools that I installed work. You'll have to give me a little bit of grace on that. As far as everything else is concerned, all is normal. We're having a good time. So enjoy your cup of coffee today. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope that you play some video games, hug someone you love, call someone on the phone that you care about, tell them that you love them. But most of all, as always, play more and be kind. All right.